What's going on, everybody? Happy weekend. Welcome to That Fantasy Show. I'm your boy Ciozi. Right now, it looks like Bruce is not here or the OG as of yet. We do got a lot to talk about. I'm sure y'all probably watching the games right now. I'm in the middle of watching the actual Broncos and Bills game, and it looks like the Broncos are they pretty much are letting them know that this is their house. So definitely let me know what y'all think about the game, what's going on. We definitely got a lot to recap. First and foremost, we definitely want to talk about some of the actual hirings and firings from the week. Again, if you do like what you're seeing here, or if you like what you that Fantasy Show, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, which we got scrolling right by you every chance we get. So I was trying to give this to the OG because the biggest thing I'm sure everybody knows about is Mike Tomlin stepping down as the head coach for the Steelers. He's been there for 19 years, brought them 2 championships, never had a losing season. And that's rare. It's rare to where a coach that has a great, that gives you, that pretty much makes you a contender every year is let go. Granted that, some of the actual, his appearances was kind of one and done, but the season that they had was all winning seasons, especially with the actual people he had. It wasn't like everybody that he had on his roster when the Steelers were actually Super Bowl bound. So I would definitely give props to Mike Tomlin for what he has done as a coach towards the actual during the NFL. So I definitely give him props on being a hell of a coach. I'm like I said, I'm still baffled for words. I'm sure that once the OG comes on, he'll be able to provide us with more information or how he feels, since he's the actual the diehard Steeler fan. The other thing that's kind of happened is that the Giants have actually decided to get John Harbaugh a try. So it's looking like he'll be the new head coach for the Giants. Now, I guess my biggest thing with the Giants is what mark can he make with this franchise? Now, granted, I do see to where they do have the Blues brothers of Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, and you also have, I believe they have the 3rd pick of the draft, and on top of that, you still have Malik Neighbors coming in. So I can definitely see why Harbaugh picked the job, because of the actual, what's the words I want to say, potential that this team has. I mean, when you look at it, you have a decent you have a decent quarterback, you have a decent running game, you actually have potential in your wide receivers, and you actually have you have a defense that's that can make his mark, especially in the NFC East. So with Harbaugh being in the NFC East, it does give issues to the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, because now I will probably say that this division is, as much people talk about him being the NFC least or things like that, but this division, to be honestly, this is a division that can be, how can I put it? A contender. And I mean, everybody in that division could be a contender. Hold on, just check in. So it looks like the OG's not going to be able to make it. but he'll be back with us next week. So hopefully, Bruce. I'll probably check with Bruce to see what's going on with Bruce, Mr. Loudmouth, aka the champ. I'm sure he's wanting to know when is he going to get his championship belt. It's whenever I feel like giving it to you. So, back on that. Back with Harbaugh. Like I said, with that squad, it's going to be it's a potential job. I'll give it that. Let's take a look at the other items that are available. I mean, besides this coaching, basically, where is it? So looking at the actual coaching breakdown, we got Harbaugh still left with the Giants. So he's pretty much solidified with the Giants, depending on how anything being written on. You got the Cardinals, Raiders, Browns, Falcons, Titans, Ravens, Dolphins, and let's not forget the Steelers now. I probably forgot to put them on there, which I did. My bad. So just out of curiosity, who do y'all think is going to go where? Who do you think will be good for the Cardinals? Or who do you think the Cardinals are going to try to hire? The Raiders is kind of the same thing with the Giants. The only difference is that you have you have potential in Ashton Genty. He didn't have the greatest year this year, but he kind of put himself out there at the end of the season. You still got Brock Bowers. Depending on who you have coach in the draft, you're going to look at who you're going to grab next. Because right now, the biggest thing I'm looking at them needing is a deep threat at wide receiver and a quarterback. And we'll definitely get into the actual quarterback situation later on. But from that, I mean, who do y'all feel as though is going to go where? Who's out there? Well, I'll probably say with the coaches' availability, is the available coaches that I will probably see that, unless you get a coordinator from nowhere, somebody from college. And like I was telling JT, with the Browns, the best person I kind of see on that, and if they haven't really thought about it, would be Robert Saleh. I think he will probably be an excellent candidate for the Browns. I don't have him on the list, but because, like I said, he's a coordinator, and he's still with San Francisco. But these are just basically head coaches that have actually still that are still available. But yeah, okay. So I did take I had to make sure I did everything right. Yeah, so I did take was Harbaugh off the thing. Sorry, I'm just trying to think about what else is going on. Now, next we definitely want to talk about. I was looking at the like I said, if you're watching I'm about to say the Cowboys, the Bills and Broncos. The Broncos are putting it. To me, it's this defense is putting a hurting on Buffalo. So if Buffalo loses this game, what do y'all feel would be the actual aftermath? What would happen with Buffalo? Do you feel as though I want to say back to the drawing board, but do you feel as though it's time to actually I don't want to say I'll say it, let's redecorate. Let's get a new coach. Let's get a new coordinator. Let's get a new defensive coordinator. Let's see what we got going on with, with Josh Allen. Because right now, like I said, if they lose this game, I really feel Bills Mafia is going to be after that whole team, and that whole team is going to seriously look at where everything's going to start. And what surprised me is Denver. Not just the defense, it's just Bo Nix is really moving this. I thought Bo Nix was a good person, was a good player at first, but the way he's actually controlling this game, I'm impressed. I didn't think it was going to be like this. I do think that the Buffalo is going to try to make their second half comebacks like they usually do. Let me check on everything going on. Let's see. Sorry, just give me a sec. I'm actually trying to catch up. I'm trying to make sure I can give y'all the up-to-date information while y'all watching. Let's see. So right now, they're down by 6. They got the ball. And yeah, they're down, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the information. So right now, score 17-23, Denver. Buffalo has the ball moving up. They've already scored Keon Coleman. So, and it's about 1:18 left in the third. Now, we already know that on the third down, fourth down, it's Josh Allen time. He throws the cape on and says, watch me work. But will this Denver defense actually be the kryptonite for Superman this season? Now, the other games we got going on tonight, I believe it is the Bears and I believe it's the what is it left? Sorry about that. Well, no, tonight will be San Francisco and the Seahawks. So again, with San Francisco, I'm not gonna lie, it's coming out banged up. You still got Christian McCaffrey, you still got Christian McCaffrey, you still got Brock Bowers, and not Brock Bowers, Brock Purdy. Sorry about that. And for some reason with San Francisco, they found a way to move up the field for their weapons. But tonight it is with an actual well-rested Seahawks defense. You're playing in Seattle. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been one of the actual hot hands that they have on there. To be honestly, they do have a little bit of secret weapons in Rashid Shaheed, and then on top of that, you still got Kenneth Walker, and you still got Chardonnay to run the ground game with. This game, I think San Francisco, like I said, I think they're going to definitely give it a shot. But I don't know what it is with San Francisco when it comes to the playoffs. The most, how can I put it? Every time I watch them play for each season, it seems like they come back just more and more damaged. And it's always when the playoffs, you have a good season, stuff like that. Then constantly when the end of the season hits, that's when all your players starting to get hurt. You got Kittle, he's done for the rest of the season from a torn ACL tear. I think Jawan Jennings is he's not going to be in. I do believe that you still have other cats out there that couldn't be, this is the chance to make your name for it. But it's just, man, with the 49ers, it's like a mass unit out there. I don't know if I will probably say this might be a blowout. And then the next games you got, like I said, and then for tomorrow, we have the hold on one second. Sorry. For tomorrow, we got the Texans and the Patriots. That's going to be pretty much a mirror match, I do feel. The baddest thing, the bad thing about that is that Nico Collins is still on a concussion protocol. They're saying that he pretty much is not playing. Not to take anything from the actual team. They do have decent weapons out there, especially with the draft pick from Hayes, I think it's Higgins. And then on top of that, you still have CJ Stroud out there. That defense is going to give them opportunity after opportunity. But then you're also looking at the Patriots doing the same thing. And with Drake May, a.k.a. Tar Heel, I do believe Drake is going to make sure that defense is not going to be – the defense is going to have his work put out for him, especially with somebody like Drake May. And then with the running game with Travion Henderson and with Rashad and with Stevenson's, they pretty much can I think they would really got me stumbling bumbling. They pretty much will actually be dealing with the actual ground. I want to say the ground and pound. And then the late night game, we definitely had the Bears and the Rams. Now with the Bears and the Rams, I'm gonna say this, and I'm sure y'all gonna look at me like I lost my damn mind. But Caleb Williams is starting to remind me of Kobe Bryant. Now, I'm not, and I'm assuming the Mamba mentality he probably says as well. But think about it. When did Kobe really flourish? Kobe was that dude, and I tell people that he was the ultimate closer. If you want to put him as a title, I would say Kobe Bryant was the ultimate closer. Whether you were down 10 or up 5, Kobe made sure that game was won. And Caleb Williams has been doing that for the past few games. I'll not say these games, this past season. As much as you want to call them the cardiac lines, whatever, but it seems like when the fourth quarter hits, no matter what he does the first 3 quarters, that fourth quarter, Caleb Williams shows out. And and it's like he takes over the game. I understand you want to say he might be Superman mode. I'm going to call it Kobe mode. I'm going to call it that Mamba mode because he's actually closing out games. And sometimes it's not actually just, him throwing the ball, him taking the ball himself. It's just him knowing who to throw it to, where to throw it to, what play to call, and who's going to control it. So, yeah, this is the game I'm seriously going to – I'll probably say that's the game to watch. I'll probably say both games are best to watch, but guaranteed, I will watch that Rams-Bears game because if the Bears come down, if the Bears fall down, I'm curious to see how Caleb Williams performs. Because if he's performing like he's been performing before, I'm gonna say the Bears probably would be the one that's going to the playoffs. I mean, to the Super Bowl. It might be the Bears, and I'm gonna put my spill in. It's going to be the Bears and the Patriots. That's how I look at it. That's who might be the actual representing the Super Bowl. So if you're a Bears fan, if y'all get past this game, and the way Caleb has been, have represented himself in playing, it's going to be. I don't even know how to put it, man. That's just the thing. So I just don't know how to explain it to well watching Caleb Williams play. I'm not going to lie. It just seems like he was I knew he was going to flourish. But the way he's been playing, he's been kind of one of those players to where, yeah, he might be that elite level. Now, it looks like they're keeping up on the game. Buffalo has scored. So right now, they actually it's 23-23 right now. Extra point is going to be 24-23. So now they're up by 1. And they were down by 10. So, like I said, it looks like Josh Allen just putting his cape on and saying, I got this. Here he comes to save the day. So this is going to be definitely interesting. Let's see. Now, besides the actual Super Bowl, once Super Bowl is over with, we all know it's going to be that time of year where that's when you're looking at mock drafts and things like that. But I definitely want to get into the national title preview because watching this game, you do see that there's a lot of potential. And both of these quarterbacks are pretty much going to be the actual, probably say first-round picks. Now, from that news, like I said, we all found out Dante Moore has actually agreed to stay one more year. Now, originally, he was one of the actual top players on the mock draft list. Let's see how we have it set up now. So right now, you have Ty Simpson still number 1, Lador Sellers number 2, Fernando Mendoza number 3, Garrett Musmere number 4, and Carson Beck. I'm sorry, number 5 is Garrett. Number 6 is Carson. Now, now I'll probably say, if Mendoza wins this, and it's definitely going to be based off their performance. Now, right now, they're saying Ty Simpson is the top quarter QB available from Alabama. But I do feel as though depending on how Mendoza and Beck performs, they definitely would be the top ones available as of right now. Because you still have you still got the combine, you still got the pro days. But after this actual game, this is where we're going to be seeing a lot of questions come in, especially with the actual quarterbacks. Who's going to be the main person that you want to grab? Other than that, you got Jeremiah Love, Justice Hayes, Jadarian Price as running backs, Jordan Tyson, Cornell Tate, Jeremy Bernard, Denzel Boston, and Chris Bell. Those are the top availables. Again, this stuff will change, especially with the national title game, because the national title game, it does bring a lot of people. I mean, I want to say a lot of people. It does bring some changes from what we have from the available players in the mock draft to watching them perform in one of the actual biggest stages. And with this being one of the biggest stages, one defense against a good offense, we get to see who's going to actually take that spot to move up in the available players and in the mock draft. I would probably say out of this list, if Mendoza, like I said, Mendoza has to ball out. Oh, well, I want to say ball out. Mendoza really doesn't have much to do. He's already a Heisman Trophy winner. He's kind of proven himself from the past games with Ohio State and especially with Oregon, when you actually just like obliterated Jonte Moore. That just kind of put yourself up there to, okay, kind of like move, bitch. Yeah, I got this. Now it could be the same. Like I said, this actually gonna be the same thing with Carson Beck as well, because you have Mendoza and you have Beck playing against each other. And if Mendoza kind of just keeps it as a regular, like I said, it depends on how the game flows. He might just do his due diligence, keep himself going. I don't want to say that, but he probably will want to win. He is going to want to win. However, I do believe that he will probably, I don't want to say show out unless he needs to, but it is going to be based on the Hurricanes. If the Hurricanes play the way that they are playing, especially the way Carson Beck has been playing lately, I can see Carson Beck moving up the actual QB rankings past Mendoza. Granted, Mendoza has the Heisman. Mendoza's had the better season, and Mendoza has actually been playing kind of the most consistent. However, with Beck, the way he's been playing the playoffs and the teams he's beaten towards that, it does give you that further look to say, okay, you know what? Who am I going to grab? And pertaining to the actual draft, I think we went over the actual ranking. I mean, the actual draft orders already. Again, like I said, you got Vegas, you got the Raiders you got the Raiders being the first pick, the Jets, and the Cardinals. I'll probably say right then and there, those three are, quarterback, and probably quarterback, depending on how they feel on Kyler Murray. But it is time, I'll probably say, with Murray, the age is getting in. After that, Tennessee is going to be if I was Tennessee, like I said, I'm looking between a wide receiver or running back. Most likely, I'll probably try to grab one of the wide receivers so Cam has somebody to throw to. The Giants, I would definitely look between. I don't know. The Giants, to me, are a team that it can go either way. It depends on Harbaugh. I'll probably say that. It depends on Harbaugh and what he's looking at and what he's seeing. Granted, you got a Malik Neighbors that's still probably coming out of injury. So I probably would grab another wide receiver just for the simple fact that if Malik Neighbors is not 100%, I still got that. I still have a dependable wide receiver to throw deep to. The Browns, again, it depends on your coach. Because right now, the biggest thing everybody's looking at, I'll probably say, is Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur is one of those cats to where he played well. And I think a lot of it has to deal with what's the word I want to say? A lot has to deal with the politics. And I'll be blunt. With Cleveland, it's about the politics right now, because as much as we hear about Shador, and this and that, he didn't have a bad season. One, two, you had a lot of injuries. You lost your running, your running back, Quinshon Judkins got hurt. Hopefully he'll get better. Again, you still have contracts to where you want to keep Njoku, which I don't think they'll probably keep because Fallon has kind of made himself the go-to guy. And on top of that, it's, you have Jared Jeudy, but is Jeudy your go-to? Or are you going to take that chance and get another wide receiver, at least to complement Shador? So that, like I said, those would be the things that the Browns are going on. The Commanders, I am a Commanders fan, as you well know. So I am going to say, to me personally, if you don't get a running back like a Breece Hall or an Alvin Kamara in free agency, then you better get one in the draft. Because that's just how I look at it. If you're wanting to protect, sorry, his name, I had his name and it just completely bounced out of me, so I apologize. Shoot. Damn, I thought he was on the front page. Jaden Daniels, sorry. I had to look at my books. So if you don't have anybody that can compliment Jaden Daniels off the actual run, then again, you're looking at this kid, running for his life, and especially in a division to where you're now it's getting tougher. Say what you want, but adding Harbaugh to the lineup to the Giants, and what the Giants have, that's adding more fuel to the fire, especially defensively. So I definitely feel as though they either, if you're not going to get a running back in the draft, then I would definitely look at either getting a decent, I guess, I guess we got to look at, they're looking at getting either the defensive end, lineman, or me personally, I'll probably say a nice hard-hitting safety. I've been saying that for years, to where we kind of need that ball hawk safety or that hard-hitting safety, to where somebody comes down the middle, they remember that number one next time it gets hit. I think you have the Saints, depending on how they look at it. Then you got Kansas City. I just think they need to get younger. So I'll probably say, yeah, if you need a running, you never need to get something in the running game. Look into that running game. Wide receiver wise, that's I don't know, because again, they might be going through free agency. The Bengals need defense, because as much as you need defense and you need protection from Joe. Poor Joe is getting beat like he owes everybody money in Cincinnati. And then we got, like I said, that's the top 10. Man, it's a lot to get into today. Like I said, and like I said, based off the draft order, they look at the free agency. And look, this is what I have as the available free agents. Fantasy, for us fantasy people, this is the only free agency that we're worried about. So for your QBs, you got, Indiana Jones that was doing this thing till he got the injury. You got Mr. Wick himself, Aaron John Wick Rogers. He's still available. He'll be a free agent. Joe Flacco, Marcus Mariota, Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson. Here's what I got an idea for Russell Wilson. Sign with the Raiders. Go to Vegas. Get you a quarterback. Let Russell Wilson be that quarterback till you feel as though he's right. Because honestly, I will probably say that Russell Wilson is probably the quarterback that you need if you're building a quarterback for that league. Russell let you cook. So if anything, I would definitely agree to picking up Russell Wilson. Like I said, I would say he would be best fit for Vegas. Then you got Malik Willis, Tyrod Taylor, And Trey Lance. Trey Lance is kind of that he had that flash in the pan in college. He was drafted for San Francisco, really didn't do much because he had an injury. And then by that time, that's when Brock Purdy emerged and started doing this thing. And it's like, okay, who do you really need after that? So yeah, that one is kind of it's iffy. I'll definitely say that. And then, like I said, that's with the quarterbacks. For the running backs, you got Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, Kenneth Walker, Javonte Walker, Travis Etienne, Tyler Egler, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, and Brian Robinson. These are all, I'll probably say this might be the year for the running back. Because, and I'll probably say this, depending on where that running back goes, if he goes to a great team, that might be a team that you might want to look at fantasy-wise. You might want to look at grabbing them fantasy-wise. He might be a sneak, he might be a steal. Then we're looking at wide receivers. You got George Pickens, which I'm sure Dallas is going to try to re-grab him. Rashid Shaheed, Debo. Again, I think if the Commanders are smart, they're going to pick him back up because he kind of was that actual person that gave Terry that break. He was kind of like that 1-2 punch. Alec Pierce with Indianapolis. I'm sure he's going to be signed. Wan'Dale Robinson might be iffy. Not to say he's a bad quarterback, but I'm sure that another team will probably offer him more money. Then you got Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Juwan Jennings, and Christian Kirk. Like I said, this year, looking from free agency, I really don't see. I say it's the year of the running back because I'm sure there's a lot of teams that's going to want to try to establish their running game with the QBs. I probably see Daniel Jones coming back. Aaron Rodgers, this might be his final say. Same thing with Joe, depending on how they look at it. Jimmy G, you haven't really heard much out of Jimmy G. And Carson Wentz. So that one I don't know. I really couldn't give you no answers towards that. But Malik Willis and Trey Lance and Russell Wilson, those are I'll probably say those three do interest me. And like I said, if I was Russ, I would take that talent too. And I know you're tired of going from place to place. If you are watching Russ, my apologies. But I'm sure you're tired of going from place to place to place. But I really would feel as though that the best place for you would be and it depends on the coach for Russell Wilson. It definitely depends on the coach. But if he decides to go to Las Vegas, I would think that would be a great fit because I actually have a dependable veteran. Say what you want about Russ. To me, I think Russell Wilson is one of the dependable veterans. And I think Jackson Dart learned a lot from him. And I'm not going to say Jameson Winston didn't have anything to do with it as well because Jameson Winston kind of gave you that energy. He kind of gave you that, he on another level. But I'm sure he's going to stay with the actual Giants because I think he's still on a contract. But I'll probably say out of these free agencies that's top so far, like I said, I definitely feel though the running backs are going to be the most sought after ones. And if you are a Commanders fan, if you're listening to me, yeah, Breece Hall is that dude you need to get. We need Breece Hall. If we can't get Breece Hall, then I'm definitely looking at Kenneth Walker or Javonte Walker because I feel as though those are the three that will probably definitely be a good. They will come in with what the Commanders are trying to do. Now, I don't know about this new coordinator. I don't know what his game plan is, but it is something to look into. Yeah. So right now, again, it looks like Buffalo's on its way up to score. They're not that far from red zone. It's 30-5. I guess Josh decided to put his cape on and say it's time to go to work. Because right now, there's 6:39 left in the game, and Buffalo still has the ball. So I'm assuming Buffalo's pretty much going to do their best to either try to waste as much time as they can They look like they are in field goal range. They're not. They're about what, 3 yards away from the red zone. But even if they don't get to 5 yards, they're still in field goal range. So again, that puts it that adds a little bit more points to it. So it gives them about a good 4-point lead. Now, for some of you guys that did fantasy football, I'm curious to know who screwed you. I am. I want to know who's if you get on here, let me know who screwed you. Because when you got them, you feel as though, okay, I got a chance. So what I'm going to introduce is the actual bust of this season. So here's what we have as for our bust. Justin Jefferson was probably, I don't want to say was the biggest bust. Because in the beginning, he was doing his thing. I think Carson Wentz, he had a good relationship. He had a good connection with Carson Wentz. Then when J.J. McCarthy got healthy, he just disappeared. So I don't know. And then with J.J. McCarthy, we don't know how that's going to go. Again, I will probably say this is when you need that backup quarterback. So J.J. McCarthy's not there. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if Minnesota's going to do a thing with the draft towards getting a new quarterback or go with the actual signings. Again, like I said, they do have some potential. Who knows? Maybe Wick Rogers might show up there, and that might be something to look at. But let's definitely take a look at this list. We got Justin Jefferson. Let me make sure I got the right setup. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, people. I thought I would have at least some time to where while Bruce is running his mouth doing what he does, I have a chance to get my information together. But that's a different story. Bruce, love you. You're the greatest champ. So Justin Jefferson went from wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 26. Brian Thomas went from wide receiver 9 to wide receiver 44. Now with Brian Thomas Jr., let's be real. I will probably say, like I said, Justin Jefferson, it was all QB play. I would definitely say that. Brian Thomas, he showed flares of being he showed promise of being a good receiver. And I think, and again, Bruce will probably say this, well, we now see what happens when you have tape on you. And I think Brian Thomas might have been one of those victims. But on top of that, you also got to realize that he also had Shedeur Sanders. I'm not Shedeur Sanders. He had Henry on the other end. And it was just while he was the actual, I think he was more the actual distraction to where in the beginning, Brian Thomas was making some catches. Now, once Henry got hurt and he was out for the season, now he's the main focus. And again, but then they picked up the running back, the wide receiver from the Raiders. Let me get his name. I forgot his name. It'll pop up to me later on. But then when they pick him up, he's still doing not as much to be a danger. But again, it did affect Brian Thomas Jr. Next, we got Lad McConkey. McConkey went from wide receiver 11 week 1 to wide receiver 27. I think this is basically based on Keenan Allen. Because I think a lot of those plays to where Lad McConkey would have been the primary person, but Keenan Allen was just that Mr. Dependable. When when you actually have a play called third and Keenan, to where we know if it's third down, it's going to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, then you're down. I think that took a lot of targets out of Lad McConkey. And then you had Thornton actually making some plays. You also had the tight end making plays, and then you also had Amari Hamilton making, he was gone most of the time. But so I would say you have Vidal that was actually making plays to where everybody just got too much of the pie to where it affected McConkey. So we'll see what they look at. We'll do this year to where they make Lad McConkey more of a weapon if they decide to. Bucky Irvin, again, I think that's one of those because he went from RB10 to RB35. I think that was just more of the, what's the word I want to say? The run, the passing game. This, I'm about to say, this is just basically between Baker Mayfield just letting it cook. He just serving it. Because if you look at it, Baker, if you look at the stats, Baker was getting more yards, more throwing attempts, to where they weren't running the ball as much. And when they did run the ball, Bucky really couldn't get that juice going. So again, that happened. I would say that's more of a what's the word I want to look for? I want to say that's more of a situational thing. Would it be the same? Would I actually pick up Bucky Irvin? I will hold off. He wouldn't be somebody that's a first round pick. I would probably say if I need a backup running back, I'm definitely grabbing Bucky. Kenneth Walker Jr. was another one. I'll probably say just running back. Sometimes running back by committee is I don't want to say death toll, but it's one of those things to where it's going to suck because your boy might be hot. They'll run him a few yards up to the play, and then right at there, if they do try to run into the end zone and he messes up, then they're going to switch him up, be like, hey, put it so-and-so in since we couldn't get it with him. And that was a lot with Kenneth Walker. If it wasn't a breakaway run, he really wasn't getting a lot of goal line. That was all Charbonnet. Marvin Harrison Jr. went from wide receiver 21 to not ranked. Granted, he had at the end of the season, he was going through certain injuries. But I do feel with Marvin, I want to say with Marvin, he hasn't found his niche yet. And what I mean by found his niche, I mean to where I don't know if it was the quarterback play, because when he was with Jacoby Brissett, his numbers started to pick up a little bit. He was starting to get more catches. He was starting to get things like that. I don't know if it's a relationship with him and Kyler Murray to where him and Kyler need to actually have that actual look. We need an off season to where we can work on our stuff, get it together, work on our chemistry. So when the season comes, this is what we got. Keon Coleman was next. He's doing his thing now. I think it's more playoff. He's starting to step into the playoff games. I'm watching the game now. Like I said, Buffalo actually got a field goal, so now it's 27-23 Buffalo. It's 2:30 left in the game, and it looks like the Broncos are making their way up the field. So we'll see how this actually turns out. Now, we'll get back to the fantasy stats. Now, regarding this game, the game is close, and that's something it's a close game. Because I ain't gonna lie, when halftime hit, they was up 10. I figured Denver was gonna run away with this, but it looks like they're not. So, if you're part of Bills Mafia, and the way this game is going, if Denver loses, are you still calling for the coach's head? It's one of those close games. Again, you got to remember that Denver is the number 1 seed. And Buffalo's playing in Denver. So, would you even consider? Would you even consider, firing the coach after this? Or would that be something you would be looking at? If Bill's Mafia, if I got any Buffalo Bill fans out there, if y'all watching, would this be somebody, because of this game, are y'all saying, okay, the coach got to go? We need a new one. Will they be on this list? Or are you pretty much like, okay, you know what? let's see what we do in the off season. Let's see if we get this. Let's see if we get that. So again, like I said, if this game comes down to the last catch, are you saying that this coach needs to go, or are you still giving excuse me, or are you still giving this coach a chance and saying, okay, we had a great season, we almost had it. It's back to the drawing board. So that's the update on that. So I'm sorry. Yeah, going back to some of the actual busts. Let's see if we can get this. Where was that on the bust list? Sorry, I was trying to put it up to where y'all can see my pretty little face, but I guess God said, nope, not today. All right. So next one we had, I believe, was we started about Keon Coleman. Emeka Ibuka was hot at first. Started off as a wide receiver 32. Now he's unranked. I should have looked at to where part of the season where he was ranked like in the middle of the season. But Emeka Ibuka showed out when Mike Evans was gone, and the rest of their receivers. So he became a factor. Once Mike Evans them came back, it was kind of like he was like invisible. So I don't know. That's like I said, when it came to Baker, when it's Baker time, a lot of things actually couldn't come into play. Like I said, they kind of banned the running game. Baker was throwing to anybody and everybody. So I don't know if they need to get a new coordinator or get a new setup for that. AJ Brown went from wide receiver 5 to wide receiver 20. I'm not gonna lie, me being a former Eagles fan, I'm not gonna lie, with this actual list, with him being on this list, he had some games to where he screwed everybody over. I'll probably say there were games to where we was like, okay, AJ back. And I'll probably say maybe 80% of the season we was like, what the hell is going on with AJ? Now, will the Eagles keep him? I don't know. On that end, I think they will keep him only if they can get a coordinator that can. You need a coordinator, and hold on. I gotta get on the mic to say this. I'm gonna put jumpers. Yeah, I'm back. Beautiful, man. Furry. When it comes to this, I would definitely say that they definitely need a coordinator that has a balanced attack. Because with the Eagles, you have too many weapons to where you're struggling to score or to find some type of momentum. You have the best running back in the league in Saquon Barkley. You have probably the most deep, I'll probably say the most threatened wide receiver corps with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and I'm trying to think of the kid's name because I had it and it was gone. Dang. Played for the Commanders, was drafted by Penn State. I can tell you that much. John Dotson, there it is, and you have him. So to me, it's like with Jalen Hurts, he should have had a field day, and I'm serious. He should have had a field day with this type of group. Looking at the actual score, there's 34 on Buffalo's 32. And they got a minute 54 left. So they probably need this actual play to get the first judge, and they got it. So right now they're on Buffalo's 46. They got a minute left into the game. Yeah. And Buffalo has all 3 of his timeouts. Denver just used one of their timeouts, so I think they got 2 timeouts left. Yeah, they still have 2 timeouts left. But yeah, back to the Eagles and AJ Brown. With this actual squad, like I said, you need a coordinator that's going to knows how to deal with a balanced attack. So I really couldn't tell you what type of coordinator is out there to where you need to say, okay, yeah, this coordinator do it. But the Eagles, if you're management or people are listening, I would say this: find a coordinator that can give you a balanced attack, that can give you a run game scheme as well as the pass and play scheme, and as well as that deep ball scheme. Because you have far too many weapons to end the season like y'all did. To lose that, and I hate to say it like this, to lose to a beat up San Francisco team. So also what I just found out is that Green Bay has agreed to terms with Matt LaFleur, so he's got an extension. So he'll be there for another 4 to 6 years. So congratulations, LaFleur, on the extension. Hopefully next year you'll get a chance to actually, hopefully, y'all make a deeper run. Sorry for what the Bears did. That was just crazy. But yeah, that was, like I said, there was our fantasy buzz. I'll have this on the actual Facebook, on our Facebook website, so you can see the actual buzz for this year. What I am going to probably try to do next week is actually talk about the actual potential players. The players that you saw that, okay, they weren't actually, Denver actually just scored. So they just scored a touchdown. It's 27-29 with 55 seconds left. So if they score, so if they keep the field goal, it's 30-27. So yeah, like I said, this is wow. Like I said, if Buffalo loses this game, do you feel as though that they're done? That you need a new coach, you need a scheme, or is it just back to the drawing board? So we'll definitely look at that. Next week, like I said, we're definitely going to be looking into fantasy potentials, players that you saw throughout the season that, okay, they weren't really sleepers, or they weren't really that first round pick, but they are players like next year, like, that's somebody to have on the squad. So we're definitely getting to that. That includes the show for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Bruce wasn't here, the OG wasn't here, so hopefully they'll get better. We have them back next week. Again, if y'all like what y'all hearing, don't forget that. Please hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions towards fantasy football, especially that you want to know on, especially if you're interested in fantasy football, if you want to know more about it, if you want to know about certain leagues, hit us up. That's something that we can definitely bring up on the show. I definitely want to make sure anybody has a chance to find out what we're about. We definitely want to keep this going, and on top of that, have fun with this as well. So again, don't forget that like, subscribe button. I'm gonna keep saying it like a broken record. Also, definitely shout out to my First Stream podcast crew, Toothpick, Lady A, Al, Sid, you guys. If y'all don't know, definitely check out this show tonight at 8:30. I think it's at 8. I think it's at 8 today, but usually they're on at 8:30 every Tuesday and every Saturday. So definitely get a chance to check out them. Other than that, I'm signing off. Much love. Peace.